Okay, let's talk about some potential breakout guys for this upcoming season. And of course, the actual breakout guy will be someone I did not mention. We start with the thumbnail, RJ Barrett. So RJ's jump from year 1 to 2 was pretty huge in my opinion. I mean, he only technically went up like 3 points, and the rebounds and assists were similar, but to me, the 3-point shooting and the free throw shooting went to a whole different level. 40% from three on 4 threes a game. And now we're seeing that RJ wants to develop an off the dribble 3-point game, which I think is awesome. And if he figures that out while he continues to improve at finishing around the basket and hopefully drawing more fouls, which I think he's equipped to do given his size, then he could be a really strong all-around scorer. Now, with all that said, I do think RJ still has another level to get to as a ball handler. I think his general shiftiness can improve as well. He does still kind of look stiff when he's breaking down defenders off the dribble, when he's getting a screen or whatever, but I'm still confident that he's going to get there. And then the last two things are his mid-range. Does he have a pull-up jumper? Is he going to develop a floater? As of right now, he just has not been too good from that area. To be fair, he got better from his rookie season. I mean, his rookie mid-range numbers were really bad. His second year mid-range numbers were below average, I guess. It's still improvement. And then finally, what is his ceiling as a passer? To me, RJ can be one of the better passing wings in the league. I think some of this, though, depends on the Knicks leaning on him more. I mean, you got D. Rose, Fournier, Julius Randle, and I just hope they don't forget that RJ is still extremely important to what this team does. I don't think they're going to, but it's still like a little teeny fear of mine. They also have Kemba, another guy who they're going to have to remember is not as important as RJ. Anyway, the next guy is DeAndre Hunter. Now, this one's tough because it's not a certainty if he's going to be 100% when the year begins, but in the 18 games that DeAndre Hunter played before he went down with the knee injury last season, he had 9 games of at least 17 points, with the biggest one being a 33-point game against the Bucks. And not all of this was just playing off of Trae Young catch-and-shoot corner threes. He was taking it himself off the dribble. He was able to use his body to just kind of be like a force field between his defender and the ball, because DeAndre Hunter's a big dude, of course, and I think that allowed him to make up for the fact that he's not a great ball handler right now. He's certainly good enough to where you don't freak out if he starts trying to break his defender down, but you don't want him doing it all the time. However, another thing that offsets that to me is that Hunter is really good at keeping his dribble alive. Like, there will be some pressure from the defender, and maybe it's not a typical pick and roll, but it's like a handoff play, something to get him some momentum moving off the ball initially. And his defender will be right there, but again, he's a big dude, keeps his dribble alive. Suddenly he's at the basket with a good angle. It's like, well, you can certainly build on this. And if you go down those stretch of games to open up last season, you know, he had some 9 free throw attempt games. He had a number of 7 or 6 free throw attempt games. So that's the formula, man. The only other question is his 3-point shooting. I feel like his form looks good. I think he goes into it with a decent amount of confidence, and his free throw percentages are good. So I think all of that suggests that he will grow into a good 3-point shooter. Also, his mid-range numbers have not been bad in his career so far. So all signs point to DeAndre Hunter's 3-point shooting can grow with his ability to finish inside and do some stuff off the dribble. But of course, there's a lot of guys on the Hawks who want to shoot the ball, so where he ends up in the pecking order, it's kind of tough to tell. Next up, we've got Rui Hachimura of the Wizards, who to me has quietly shown in his first 2 years that he has the potential to be, I don't want to say a dominant inside scorer, but definitely one of the best in the NBA. I mean, he shot 75% in the restricted area this season. And sure, some of that is just playing off of Beal, and last season it was Westbrook, now it's going to be Dinwiddie. And just hanging around the dunker spot or finishing plays in transition. But Rui also busts out these post-ups where he powers through his defender, and it's not always the most graceful thing, but it is effective. And it's kind of awkward because obviously you're not going to run all of your offense through that. But I do think there's going to be this push and pull with the Wizards where it's like, they don't want Rui to just be shooting 9 to 10 or 11 times a game. I mean, his stats are almost identical to his rookie season because I think he's just been kind of slotted into this role on the wing where he just plays off of the star players, and I just hope they lean into him a little bit more. And maybe not in the sense of ISOs or pick and rolls up top, but what I mentioned with DeAndre Hunter, like some handoff action to help him out a little bit, have him moving off the ball initially. It might have to be some face-ups, trying to get him switches more and then giving it to him in the post right away. Of course, Rui would help his case by being better from three. That would be awesome as well. And it's a little weird that with as good as he's been at finishing around the rim, his free throw attempts are not that high, but my guess is that will climb up as he goes, so I do like him. And the one game I saw of him in the Olympics when he was playing Slovenia, he made so many contested mid-range jumpers, and he was demanding the ball, so he could have that in him, and maybe just the way the NBA is set up, maybe he hasn't been able to show that off as much. Not the mid-range, but the assertiveness, Next we have OG Anunoby. He could make an all-defense team this year. I don't think anybody would be surprised by that. But his offense took a real jump this previous season, man. Granted, 43 games, but 16 points, and the three-point shooting was nuts. 40% on 6 a game. He took an RJ-esque jump with his three-pointers, more so in attempts. And he looks really confident, man. He takes contested threes. I don't know if he's taking a whole lot off the dribble, but he's certainly not concerned when guys are closing out on him, and he'll take one with a guy in his face and all that. And I also feel like he occasionally busts out like these impressive drives off of closeouts, and also I feel like he had random post-ups or face-ups within the Raptors offense, and it's like, whoa, you put all this together, and the next step for him could be this awesome two-way player who can overwhelm ball handlers and probably match up with some bigger guys as well. And then on offense, making threes, taking it off the dribble himself. I don't know if they're going to run a super lot of offense through him, but also doing some things in the post. We'll have to see where he grows with that. OG could have a hell of a season coming up. Next up, Darius Garland. I was going to take one person from the Cleveland backcourt. Is he going to lean more into shooting threes and pull-up threes and all that, which is something that he showed off this previous season? And is he going to become Tony Parker-esque when it comes to finishing around the rim, or Kyrie-esque, or just can he bust out all these crazy acrobatic moves and floaters and weird angle shots to make up for the fact that he's just not a huge dude and is probably not going to draw a million free throw attempts in his career? I'm not saying he can't grow beyond the, 2.5 free throw attempts he shot a game this previous season, but I don't know if he's ever going to go past, maybe 5 a game or so. But I feel like the shot making is going to be there. I think we're going to see him take more threes. He took 5 a game last season. I could see that going up to 7 or 8. And he's just shifty enough to get by defenders, and I think he's already showing off the craftiness around the rim. The other question is his pull-up mid-range, which has not been as good as his 3. But the other thing to think about, too, is the new teammates he's got. Now he's going to have Jared Allen for a full season. There's your run, jump, and dunk center. He's going to set a lot of screens for you. We imagine Mobley's going to be playing a good amount of center. We'll see how effective Mobley is at diving to the rim early on. That's not his only thing, but that's going to be part of it, And you got Markkanen for some floor spacing. Cleveland needed spacing. It could also be a log jam up front, but we'll see there. And, of course, Garland's a good passer. I don't know if he's going to project to being one of the best in the league, but he can definitely lob it up to the big guy rolling. He'll notice the open guy in the corner. And I do think if the defense brings extra attention to him, he's not Chris Paul, where he's going to make the right play every single time, but I think he's going in the right direction there. Next, we've got Dejounte. I know, not surprising for me to put Dejounte Murray in this sort of thing again. I understand that he does not shoot a lot of free throws and he's not good from 3, which makes it very tough for him to be a real shot creator and a guy you can run offense through like that. But the mid-range is legit. The free throw percentages are good for what it's worth. And I'm going to assume that eventually he's just going to put on more weight. Maybe the injury that kept him out of the 2019 season halted his weight gain progress. I've tried to Google just Dejounte weight gain. There was one post about him mentioning it, and besides that, I can't find a whole lot. So those are the keys for him to me. Getting better from 3, being more willing to attempt threes, and then getting bigger so he can just actually draw contact around the rim and defenders don't overwhelm him and that sort of stuff. Because besides that, I mean, we know his defense is awesome, his rebounding is great for a guard, and his playmaking is pretty decent as well. Caris LeVert, we've seen him in stretches be a great ISO player who can make contested jumpers, beat defenders off the dribble, and the question is mainly just his health. Also, I think Carlisle could put him in situations to do well besides just screens up top and ISOs. And finally, I'm going to group the last two together, Tyrese Halliburton and Anthony Edwards. I feel a little weird putting second-year players in here, but whatever. I don't put LaMelo in here because I guess he's already like an established star. With Halliburton, the question is, can he just be more of a scorer? Does he have the scorer's brain, or is he just always going to be more of a pass-first guy? Is he going to draw free throw attempts? Is he going to beat defenders consistently? Also, will he get stronger and be able to defend bigger players more often? And with Anthony Edwards, it's just, is he going to maintain the consistency? Because to open up his rookie season, it was missing shots, taking a lot of those contested threes and not making them, and eventually they just started going in. I know that's basic as hell, but it's just how it is sometimes. I don't think Anthony Edwards is going to suddenly stop taking tough three-pointers, you know? Also, once Towns was there and Edwards was getting the ball more in pick-and-roll situations, he was able to be a little bit more of just the battering ram going to the rim, and I do think that helped him out quite a bit. And at the tail end here, I'll also mention Michael Porter Jr. and DeAndre Ayton. I feel like they both already kind of had their breakout moment. With Ayton, it was the playoffs. MPJ, I mean, the guy went to 20 points a game basically last year. But I figure people will mention them, so I'll just say them right here too.